The top 0.1%, roughly 300,000 people, saw their net value rise by 20 to 25% in the last 18 months. That's the last 18 months of massive recession, joblessness, layoffs, foreclosures, evictions that the rest of us have been putting up with. The ultra wealthy have been gaining mightily during that period. And it's mainly due to government enforced outcomes and bailouts of wealthy institutions like corrupt banks and financial institutions. The second way your government damages you actively is through discrimination. All governments at all levels are actively discriminating against the native citizen. They favor certain minorities, certain foreign classes for admissions into universities. These are admission guidelines enforced by law. Quotas. These directly impact you in a destructive way. So you, as a citizen, face discrimination in bettering your own life's chances. Your children face the same discrimination. Entrance to universities, graduate programs, advancement in the corporate world, all massively skewed against you. The third way the government damages the citizen is by an active process to suppress wages and worker power. How do they do this? By actively allowing and subsidizing job exportation, labor importation, the massive influx of illegal immigrants. All of this serves to undercut the wage of the native citizen. And you should know that the average working person, the average working countryman, has not seen his wage rise in real terms for the last 15 years. In fact, he makes less than his dad did. You think about that. So we have a government that is actively damaging us day in and day out, and yet we have a whole group of reformists constantly badgering us to stay within the system. And you ought to find that pretty damned irritating. I've found it irritating for many years now, but hopefully if someone is actually telling you the issue, you should find that irritating. Example is the Tea Party. What a ridiculous name for a movement that espouses working within the system, non-confrontation, completely legalistic, working within electoral processes. When the real Tea Party that occurred some 230 years ago, 240 years ago, was a violent act of civil disobedience by an armed group of freemen. That's right, in 1773, armed freemen boarded British ship, the East India Trading Company ship, and dumped roughly 12,000 British pounds of tea into the Boston Harbor. That would be about $2 million today. This group of freemen at the time was under a taxation rate of roughly 2%. You heard that right. 2% was the complete total tax rate on a freeman in the British colonies, on average. And yet they were ready to pick up their rifles and rebel at one more tax. Now look at these Tea Party pansies and you think about that as we sit here under 40%, 50% taxes. So the current reform movements are a complete waste of time. They're actually tools of the ruling class. They expect and hope that the majority will remain within the system, trying to reform politics, the political system, through this fixed and rigged process. This speech has run long enough, and I just want to close by saying that now is the time to join movements like this, the Freemen Project, and I cannot stress to you enough how important it is that we get a substantial membership up and running quickly, because I tell you, this will snowball like nothing you have ever seen. If we can get 100 men at the Houston rally on November 13th, there will be some fiery speeches delivered there. And let me tell you, once this breaks out into the media, this fire is lit. And 100 will become 1,000. 1,000 will become 10,000. By next year, we will be having rallies of some 10 to 20,000 people. If there are enough of you with some backbone to come up and show at this first one. Don't be afraid of the state. Don't be afraid to step into liberty. Don't be afraid to be a free man. I thank you for listening. Goodbye and good luck.